Sì.
Okay. E ad Emma, che ha esordito proprio nei musical fin da bambina, chiederei se ha un episodio da ricordare, visto che noi vediamo nel film è tratteggiato benissimo proprio la frustrazione che provano questi due ragazzi, che ognuno con un sogno da affermare, e la loro difficoltà quotidiana nel farlo. Se lei ha un episodio che assomiglia un po' a quello del suo personaggio, cioè anche di frustrazione di non riuscire a realizzare quello che vuole realizzare. E al regista invece intanto non sono frequenti gli applausi che abbiamo visto stamattina alla proiezione per la stampa dopo la prima scena aperta proprio, ed è stato bellissimo. A lui chiederei invece un commento su Los Angeles, cioè se è veramente una città così castrante come sembra emergere nel film tutt'oggi, per chi ha un sogno da coltivare e prova a realizzarlo. Grazie.
Damien and I spoke for a while about some incidents I had had at auditions or experiences that I had had when I first moved to Los Angeles when I was 15 to try to be an actor. And I had a few humiliating audition stories. But what I admire so much, I think, about Mia is it never really gets to the point, or it never got to the point for me where I wrote something on my own and put it out there for the world to see, and then had the kind of experiences she has where she decides to kind of pack it in for at least a moment. So it never quite got to that point for me, and yet I don't feel like I was ever quite as brave as she is in putting herself out there in that way. So yes, I do relate to it, but I don't know that if I have an episode that was quite as devastating.
Yeah, thanks, Emma. I think I think LA is. I've lived in LA now for about 9 years, and I remember when I first moved there. There's something about the loneliness in LA. I think when you first when you don't know that many people there, it's not a city that offers itself up to you, and it was really important to me and to all of us. And I remember I first met Fred and Jordan when we were all somewhat recent LA transplants from the East Coast, and we were all talking a little bit about the things we love about LA, but also the things we hate about LA, and could you reconcile the two in a way? So the idea of this movie in terms of LA in it was to build from all the cliches that we make fun of about LA, the traffic, the terrible parties, the celebrity culture, the shallowness, but then try to maybe build from that to an actual love letter, try to see what is beautiful underneath the surface. And there is something very poetic about the city, I think, about a city that's just built by people with these unrealistic dreams, and people who just kind of put it all on the line for that.
Damien, can you also add something? Perhaps the producer can also get to this. The way you photograph LA, because it's very specific, it's very beautiful, it's very lush. You have some landmark places, you have some movie places, and you can see paintings in it. I mean, you can see a visual research that is very profound in the film. I think it might be interesting for you to elaborate, and if they want to also join.
Yeah, I'll jump in just quickly in the sense that I owe a lot of that to Lena Sandgren, our genius of a DP, who similarly, originally an outsider, moved to LA, and I think I was interested in that kind of perspective in a way, someone who's encountering the city in a way that still feels new, still feels fresh. I wanted the movie to kind of feel like that, even to people who've lived in LA for a long time, like a lot of us have. That you try to capture a little bit of what LA feels like the first time you see it. It's not really, it doesn't feel like a real place, and for better or for worse. So the movie had to feel a little bit like a dream, yet still a dream that took place in the real world. And that was all about how Linus moved his camera, the color palette he wanted to use, and the time of day we would shoot, which really frustrated the producers, I think, of having to shoot everything between 6 p.m. and 7 p.m., which is difficult when you're doing 6-minute dance numbers, So all of that kind of was part of that process.